This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Tuesday, July 6th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we're talking about investment groups buying up single family housing, as well as Disney World's ambassador program. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have business reporter Trevor Frazier and theme park reporter Dwayne Bevel. Thank you both so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Kicking things off first, we want to give you a tropical storm Elsa update, which has reemerged back into the Gulf of Mexico after briefly being over Cuba and bringing heavy rain and winds to the area. The storm right now is breezing past the Florida Straits and is projected to go up the Florida west coast, which the upper counties of that coast are currently under a hurricane watch. Now, forecasters aren't sure just as of yet if the storm is going to transform back into a hurricane at this time. They say that there is a marginal chance of that happening, but we'll continue to keep our eyes on that. And you can continue to do so as well, as we will keep you up to date on what's going on with the storm as it continues to update at orlandosentinel.com. So be sure to keep up with all the information there. But moving on into our headlines today, Trevor, I want to come to you first for one of your latest. When Wall Street owns your house, big investors are becoming landlords on a tightening Orlando housing market. So, getting right into this, I mean, anyone who's listening to this is aware of how tight the housing market already is. But as this sector that you point out, this sector of investment groups that are buying up single family housing continues to grow, how is this affecting a stressed out market as it is?
There are a lot of different kinds of investors in single family real estate, but this is a new segment of the market where they're buying them and turning them into rentals. And this started shortly after the Great Recession, when a lot of larger investment groups, private equity firms, and so on started scooping up properties at auctions and at foreclosure sales, so on and so forth. And then they couldn't turn around and sell them because lending standards were pretty strong. People couldn't just buy a house on a whim at the time. What they did was that they turned some of them into rentals, and some of that started to pay off. And in the last about 4 or 5 years, these investment groups have really noticed this was working out for them, and so they started turning more of them into rentals. And the issue with this, as far as the tight housing market goes, is, well, when you turn a house into a rental, it's no longer available for sale. So as we're looking at record low inventories, for example, in Orlando, we had less than 3,000 homes on any given day for sale, which is just like I said, record low for the area. That means fewer houses for sale. And that's bumping up housing prices, or at least it has the potential to bump up housing prices. It has the potential to be essentially to draw down on that inventory.
So, Trevor, looking at this, because I mean, when I think of people buying up housing, I think of them flipping the housing and immediately selling it. However, in your reporting, you were talking to some people that were saying that this process of renting it back out is a pretty safe investment. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it is essentially it's a sort of steady stream of income. If you flip a house, you get the profit from it one time. You buy it, you turn it around, you flip it, and then that's it. But if you rent the house, you've got income coming in, year round on the house, and just continuing to pay. You can continue to raise the rent until that person then moves out, someone else moves in, and you keep, collecting on this, and so on and so forth. Mind you, there's a lot of property management that goes into it, so it's not exactly as simple as just, doing that. But it is essentially becoming, more or less something that they can count on. And in fact, one of the analysts I talked to said there's not even enough of it yet. We have more people who want to rent single family homes. We have young people who are coming into the market who they want a home, they want space for their family. They're starting to form families themselves, so they don't want to live in apartments anymore, and they don't want to live in multifamily projects, but they also can't afford a house yet. They can't put a down payment on a house. They don't have the credit history or anything yet to, qualify for a mortgage. So because of that, they need to keep renting. So right now they say that the demand for single family rentals is actually under the amount of single family rentals for sale. And in fact, in 10 years, it's going to totally outstrip it if this does not continue. It is worth it to note, though, that when we talk about this, that the investor side of this, these major private equity firms that are owning these rental management firms, so like American Homes for Rent, Progress Residential, Invitation Homes, these are all were founded by these private equity firms, but they only make up a very small percentage of the single family homes that are currently for rent. That's only estimates are between 2 and 3% of the single family rental market is owned by investors. 97% is owned by either small local property management firms or, mom and pop, somebody who just owns a couple other houses and they rent those out. So this is still a very new emerging field.
So, Trevor, when you say emerging, though, does that mean that this is something that definitely has at least an estimation for growth,
Oh,
or is this maybe a passing trend?
no, this is definitely growing. Most analysts that I talked to said because it's so new, because we have no real history here, I mean, we're talking about less than 10 years really of this practice. So we don't really have the data yet to know if it's going to explode, what kind of a profit margin it has, so on and so forth. We just don't know, how that's going to go. But pretty much all of them said that they are going to keep seeing this, and you're going to see this get bigger and bigger. This is going to keep happening. Now, one thing that's happening is you have like American Homes for Rent doing built for rent communities, where they're actually going to builders. They're having them build entire housing communities that are all going to be for rent. So they're not buying housing and taking it out of the market. They're building new housing. But of course, that also puts pressure on builders to be building rentals instead of building, homes that people can buy. But yeah, I talked to one, real estate agent who works with some of these larger brokers, and he said, "We're all in. We're buying in all 50 states now on this. There's a lot of growth potential here." And again, because they see the demand for this actually continuing to go up over the next 10 years, it's kind of the sky's the limit. We don't really know how far this is going to go, but everybody it says that it's a pretty safe bet that you're going to see more of it in the future.
A really interesting story, Trevor. And for those of you who are interested in finding out more, I encourage you to go look at Trevor's work at orlandosentinel.com. Trevor, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Dwayne, I want to head over to you now. Dwayne joins us with our latest Disney at 50 feature. And this week, Dwayne, you're taking a look at Walt Disney World's Ambassador Program, which has been a long-standing tradition over at Disney. Before getting into the latest news of the Ambassador Program, can you tell us exactly what the program is?
So the ambassador program is kind of neat because it's actually older than Walt Disney World itself. Walt Disney, the man, uh, created this position to help him at Disneyland. They're having the 10th anniversary in 1965, and there was a lot of media push, and he needed someone to help him deal, with the demand. And then it just kept on going for years. So for a while, it was a single person. It's been as many as 9 people at a time. Generally, it's 2 people. It's 2 cast members at a time now, and they serve for 2 years. Is the latest thing on it. Cast members apply. There's a long interview process, and basically they represent the company. Sometimes at public events, a lot of internal cast member celebrations. Whenever they open an attraction, the ambassadors are there, and many times they do speak for the company, or at least what's coming up.
Gotcha. So last week, Walt Disney World named its newest ambassadors, and we got to find out who they were. So, who are the newest ambassadors? And can you tell us a little bit about them?
So the new ambassadors is a man named Rayvon Redding and a woman named Allie Mannion. They kind of have similar backgrounds. Ambassadors can be from any sort of discipline of Disney. They've had engineers. You think of it, it's very public facing job. So you think, the happy frontline people would be the people you wanted for this, but they've been from all over the place. Both of them have been entertainers, and they've also been managers, I believe. Rayvon actually worked at Shanghai Disneyland for a while, and he's currently at Magic Kingdom, and Ali is at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So, if Disney is going to pick you to represent them, they're going to be bright, shiny, happy people. I could never make it. But yeah, they were. It is a big honor that hundreds of people want to do, and a long-standing tradition. For the Disney World at 50 article, I looked back in 1971 Orlando Sentinels and our first interview with the first ambassador, who was Debbie Dane, who was from Lyman High School. She'd been in Miss Lyman High. She was 19, and it's funny how it's a little bit dated. She had to have a chaperone. She had one costume that she wore that was not a mini skirt. We point out it is not a mini skirt. And yeah, she had to promise not to get married, for the first year, like she was Miss America or something. So things have changed. There are more, as I say, they have more than one outfit now. It's very mix and match animal. And the new people were thrilled. Confetti went everywhere, and people just went nuts.
It's a pretty cool tradition, especially one that you found that, actually outlives, as you said, Disney World itself.
Right.
Pretty awesome for our Disney World at 50 feature this week. Be sure to take a look at Dwayne's work online at orlandosentinel.com, and be sure to be on the lookout for more Disney World at 50 features as they come out every week on Wednesday, I believe, right, Dwayne?
Yes.
All right, on Wednesday, be on the lookout for those. And if you're looking for any more information on anything that we talked about here today on OSN, go find it at orlandosentinel.com. And for those of you who are subscribers to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for continuing to support local journalism, for supporting our work. If it's something that you want to get behind, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that is our show here for today. A big thank you to Dwayne and Trevor for keeping us filled in what's going on in our hometown. We'll be back again with more news tomorrow at noon. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando's Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.